In April 1895, the most celebrated playwright in London walked into the Old Bailey as a prosecutor. 52 days later, he left it as a convict, sentenced to 2 years hard labor. This is how Oscar Wilde destroyed himself, and how the law was waiting for him. London, February 1895. Wilde is at the summit. An ideal husband and the importance of being earnest are playing in the West End at the same time. His name shines on 2 theatre hoardings at once. Then, on the 18th of February, the Marquess of Queensberry, the violent estranged father of Wilde's lover, Lord Alfred Douglas, leaves a calling card at Wilde's club. 10 words in an angry scrawl accusing Wilde of posing as a sodomite, with the accusation itself misspelled. A hall porter slips the card into an envelope. It waits 10 days. Wilde could have burned it. Instead, against the advice of his friends and urged on by Douglas, he made the one fatal decision of his life. He sued the Marquess for criminal libel. Under the law, Queensberry could defend himself by proving the accusation true. Wilde's own lawsuit handed his enemy a legal license to investigate his private life. Queensberry's detectives went into the underworld and found the witnesses. The libel trial opened at the Old Bailey on the 3rd of April. For a day, Wilde was brilliant, trading epigrams with the defense counsel Edward Carson over art and letters. On the second day, Carson turned from books to named young men. Asked whether he had kissed a servant boy, reports of the trial record Wilde reaching for a laugh. He was, Wilde said, a peculiarly plain boy. The gallery heard a joke. The jury heard an implication. When Queensberry's lawyers prepared to call their list of young male witnesses, Wilde's counsel withdrew the case. The court found the accusation substantially true. That same evening, the trial papers went to the public prosecutor, and a warrant was issued within hours. There was still time to catch the boat train to France, and his friends begged him to take it. Wilde sat in room 118 of the Cadogan Hotel and waited for the knock. He was arrested that night and charged with gross indecency under a statute that made private conduct between men a crime. His name was painted out of the playbills. Both plays closed. His library was auctioned to pay Queensberry's costs. The first criminal trial ended with a hung jury. The Crown simply tried him again. On the 25th of May, 1895, the jury convicted. The judge, as the newspapers reported it, called it the worst case he had ever tried and the 2-year maximum inadequate. 2 years hard labor, the treadmill, oakum picking, near total silence. His health broke at Wandsworth, and in November he was transferred to Reading Jail. Prisoner C33. Cell 3, Landing 3, Gallery C. There, finally allowed pen and paper, he wrote a 50,000-word letter to Douglas, published after his death as De Profundis. Released in May 1897, he crossed to France that night and never saw England again. He lived under a borrowed name, Sebastian Melmoth, on charity in Dieppe, Naples, and Paris. His last work, The Ballad of Reading Gaol, was signed only with his cell number. On the 30th of November 1900, he died in a shabby Paris hotel room, aged 46. Here is the record plainly. Wilde broke the law as it stood. The conduct was essentially proven. The injustice was the law itself, a statute that turned private life into a crime. It stayed on the books long enough to convict Alan Turing. England decriminalized in 1967, and on the 31st of January 2017, under the law that bears Turing's name, Britain posthumously pardoned Oscar Wilde alongside some 50,000 other men. Not a reversal of the verdict, an admission of the wrong. 122 years after 10 misspelled words on a calling card. This has been under oath.